Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us this evening and welcome back to the Bag Makers Society after what has seemed like a very extended break after the Christmas period. So tonight's guest is Monika from All Sew Petite. Hopefully I've said that right. Monika is a bag maker, a designer, but she then also teaches other bag makers to design their own bag making patterns. So she has lots of strings to her bow. So I will bring her in to the room now. Hi, Monika, you all right?
Hi, Deb. Thank you for having me. I'm pretty good.
And didn't that all go on seamlessly? That was
Oh,
a little bit
that
of
was
new tech
chef's kiss.
for me. I was a little bit worried about using it because tech does not always go right for us. So I had it all set up in the background and it muted us and then it unmuted us and it just worked. So
Perfection.
yay. 2025 off with a bang. So
Yes.
so we've got lots of people in the chat. So we've got Sophie is saying hi. Kath's with us, Maureen's with us, Hazel, Mo, Karen, other Hazel, who's currently working her way through some chocolate biscuits. I am
Oof.
jealous. Um,
Same.
Brian, Brian is with us all the way from San Diego. You may have seen Brian's episode previously.
I
Um,
didn't watch it through, but I've seen bits and pieces. Yes.
yeah. Brian is a chicken guy. Um, Maureen is with us. She's just finished a lovely sultana scone. You will see that we talk about food a lot. We maybe should change it to the Bag Maker and Stroke Cake Society.
That's it.
Lynn is with us. Grumpy is saying the sound is all good. Peggy's with us. Maureen, Pam, Donna, Elaine. We've got an amazing crowd. Sue has just joined us as well, and she says, "Good evening, Deb and Monika are lovely members." And Donna is just finishing off the last of the Christmas biscuits. Oh, mine didn't
What were
last.
they homemade? That's my question.
Good question. Very good question. Oh, you're starting off the episode well there. I don't even think my Christmas biscuits like made it into January.
Yeah.
So very well done there, Donna. But yes, a lot of our conversation does quite often revolve around food. Um, just I had lasagna again.
I love food.
Made lasagna
I have a
last night.
partner who's a chef, so we can talk about it.
Sorry, I'm having a bit of difficulty with my sound, so I keep having to pop my headphones in and out. Not homemade. They weren't homemade. Oh, so right, now that we've got all the food talk out of the way, we've decided what we're all going to be snacking on as we make the way through this evening's episode.
Yes,
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you for giving up
it's my pleasure.
um, some of your time this evening. Thank you for chatting to us. So do you want to just give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself and sort of tell us how you got into bag making?
Okay. Well, I started sewing at a very young age, but I started making my own clothes first. The bag making journey came a little bit later. So I think it was around 2018, if I remember correctly. My best friend emailed me just randomly and asked if I could make her daughter a little crossbody bag because she was having her first Holy Communion and she needed like this white little bag to put, things, holy book
Mhm.
and cross, whatever you take to church. And I was really intrigued. I didn't know really where to start, but I thought I'm gonna give it a go since I'm the only person in her life that know how to sew, and she's sort of like my sister, so I treat those children like my own children,
Mhm.
and I thought I cannot let the little one, and I have to make it something special for her. So that's how my bag making journey started. I looked through the blog posts, YouTube tutorials, anything I could find to make that bag. Obviously, I made it for her. She loved it. She still has it to this day, which is so cute. And yeah, and I just became so obsessed with making my own bags that sewing clothes kind of took a back burner, and I haven't been sewing clothes for years after that because I just jumped in head first, and here we are today.
I think so many of us are the same, that we're kind of introduced to sewing in a garment fashion. We stumble across bag making in some way or form, and then we're just hooked. I don't know what it is that kind of drags us all in. But I'm exactly the same as you. You know, I can sew clothes, I just don't. You know, I don't think, I can't remember the last time I've sewn clothes. I do want to get back into sewing my own clothes, but every time I'm like, right, get that pattern out, and another bag takes my fancy, and I'm back
Yes,
down a rabbit hole
yes,
of, oh, which pattern? And but I love that she still has that bag, and that
I
your first
know.
bag was such a
Yeah,
special introduction to
yeah,
bags as well. That's
especially
so nice.
because my friend, she has two daughters, so I made this bag for the oldest daughter, and the younger one, she's actually my goddaughter. So her first holy communion was last year in May, and she wore the same bag, and that was so precious to
Oh,
me. I was so surprised that she kept it. And then when the little one walked in, I'm like, oh my god, I nearly melted. So that
oh,
was really
that's so
special.
special.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
That's really special. So, what sort of inspired you as well to use the name All Sew Petite?
Well, this name is kind of, it started when I decided to start a blog. That was way before I even knew about social media. I didn't even know Instagram, TikTok, whatever. I didn't know of those things. But it started, I think, 2016 or 17 when I decided to start a blog, and I wanted to share all my makes, pattern hacks, everything that I've been creating, clothing wise, because obviously I haven't gotten into bag making at this point yet. And since I'm short, I'm petite, I'm only like 150 centimeters tall, I'm a tiny little midget. Uh, I kind of merge everything that was important to me. So I merged the petite, and obviously that's all I wanted to do was sew. I just merge it into one word. I write it as a one word because I just like the sound as it, like it's one word. But I know some other people actually spell it as three different words. I don't mind whichever way. It's just, yeah, and it's just stuck. Even though I started to pivot and I started to create patterns, I decided to keep the name because it's close to my heart and I
Mhm.
like it. I like the sound of it.
Yeah, and it's you.
Yeah, it's me. It's me.
Yeah. So even though the name sort of changed and evolved, do you still keep up the blog side
Yes,
of it?
I do have it on my website. I Because I still post everything. I do have older posts from way back. Some of them, they are private now, because it's just the quality of pictures and the topics I have chosen. It's just like I want to keep those two things separate. But yeah,
Yeah,
I do still have it on my website, and I keep new bag making topics added.
yeah. It's nice to have that though as kind of your diary, isn't it?
It is, yes, yes. That's what I used to do every single year. I had like a summary as well of what I've been doing throughout the year, all the projects, my thoughts, my plans for the next year, all this thing. I don't do that anymore because since I started designing bags, any plan I make, it never happens. So I stopped basically
Yeah.
planning ahead. more than a month. That's already that's enough. I can plan for the month and
Yeah. But
nothing
sometimes,
apart from that.
yeah, sometimes if you plan too far ahead, sort of trends change and
Yeah.
your own sort of path changes as well. Sometimes when you plan too far ahead. So probably a month or even 2 months is probably maximum, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when it's business.
Yeah, I tend to plan one project ahead because bag
Yeah.
making and designing bags takes a long time. So if I want to actually design something, new pattern, and release it, it takes me 2, 3 months, sometimes even longer, depending on the complexity of the design. So I don't plan more than that because I try to focus on one project at a time. Otherwise, I get too distracted.
Yeah. And as well, people keep bringing out all this amazing new fabrics and fabric designs. So
Oh,
you might have a project in mind and then be like, scrap
yeah,
that
yeah.
because I want to make that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
you need to do
dangerous.
that as well.
That's a dangerous territory, shopping for fabrics. I live in a small studio in London, so I don't really have much space. So I made a conscious decision of whatever I have on my shelf. That's how much space I have. I can fill it to the brim. Apart from that, don't.
Yeah.
But it's
So
hard. It's
so
hard.
well disciplined.
Uh, yeah.
So are you self-taught sewing or did you have
Yes.
any lessons or anybody in your life who's taught you to sew?
So in general, I picked some tips and like a basics from my parents because we used to have a sewing machine at home, and both of my parents used it to like alter clothes, fix the zipper, change the zipper in jeans for family, neighbors, like shorten curtains, do some basic stuff. And I remember when my mom one day was swearing because she hated change zippers in jeans. She just absolutely hated it, and I thought, well, just show me how to do it. Just show me and I'll just do it for you. So she started to show me how to use the sewing machine, and then I started to adjust my clothes, shorten my own clothes, add some bits. As a teenager, I wanted to be cool, obviously. So, I was adding
Yeah.
sleeves, mesh sleeves, or something, just weird stuff. And yeah, and it just grew from there. But just the basics I learned. Everything else
Hmm.
I learned from just trial and error, really, because there was no internet when I started to
Hmm.
sew. And there
Yeah.
weren't many books in libraries either. So
Mhm. We'll not go into ages. We'll bypass that one.
I'm 20.
Yes, I'm 21.
Here we go. Drinking age.
Just to say, Donna's
Yes.
saying her mum taught her, and she worked in a garment factory from 15, rising to a sample maker. Going to try and make some trousers with her help soon.
Ooh,
I
nice.
mean, it makes total sense to be utilising as much
Yes.
help, especially with trousers, because I'd say out of anything, unless you
Mm,
need to do like bust adjustments and stuff, but out of anything, I would say trousers is probably the hardest thing, clothes wise, to fit.
yes. I would agree. Unless you are making like very, I don't know how, like a jacket that is very well
Yeah,
fitted and you
like
want
very
that
tailored.
couture, finish,
Hmm.
then that's another like totally different ball game. But yeah,
Yeah, this is why
trousers,
I like
fitting
bags,
trousers.
because if my weight goes up, it fits. If my weight
That's
goes
it.
down, it fits. It's
That's
why
it.
it's why
Exactly.
I like bags so much.
Exactly.
So so what does your typical day look like, as both, bag maker, designer, course creator? How, like, you come into the studio, how does your day look?
Well, I actually work from home. So you see my sewing machine behind my board. That wall is basically my studio, and the desk I sit at the moment. So my day usually starts with a cup of tea or coffee. I usually do some admin in the morning. check emails from my students, from my customers, see if there are any comments on social media. I try to do that in the morning, and then so I can focus and don't be distracted by social media, because if I go on it, it's dangerous water. And then depending on what's on to-do list for that particular day, I might edit tutorials, start drafting patterns, maybe a mock-up if I'm creating a new design and I want to just make sure everything fits perfectly together. I might be writing sewing instructions or taking photos. It really varies. I don't think I have 2 days that would be the same. Every day looks different. And yeah, and I like that actually about my
Mhm.
job, about this process, because there are so many different steps. There are a lot of steps that I really enjoy, and there are a few that I dislike, but because I chose to do what I do, I have to do that admin. I have to, write those steps. English is my second language, so I'm not very good at writing in English. So whenever I'm writing my sewing instructions, that takes me forever. So yeah, it really depends.
Do you
But
have
yeah,
anybody that sort of helps you with that?
I rely on my pattern testers a lot. I try to pick at least half of my testers that speak English very well, and they are willing to point, the grammar errors and things. But mind you, now with the AI and Grammarly and stuff, that I think that gets much easier. I remember not long ago, one of my friends online, she mentioned that who was kind of proofreading quickly my pattern. She says like, oh, you write better than the English person. I'm like, well, thank you, Grammarly, then, because I wouldn't know where to put a dot or whatever, however you call those, writing things, paragraphs and
I
things.
don't know either. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
so
it. Yeah. I put everything through a spell checker and it still fails me sometimes, so don't
yeah.
worry about it. Yeah. What's your favourite part of the process?
Ooh, that's a difficult question. I think, like the beginning, the designing process, coming up with the idea and sketching it and starting to draft the pattern. That's, I think, my that like I enjoy the most, because it's like an unknown territory every single time. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I may have a sketch of the design that I want to create, but by the end, it may look completely different. So I
Mm,
think I like this part the most. And that obviously includes sewing, checking, and stuff like that. But all the admin computer work is the least of my favorites, if
mm,
I'm being
yeah.
honest.
I remember Erica from Lavender and Twine saying something very similar. She loves to see her sort of idea and then what she ends up with. And sometimes there's fragments of what she
Yeah.
started with. Sometimes it's an exact replica,
Mm,
and sometimes it just evolves and changes so much as
yeah.
she goes through the process. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think anybody who designs patterns is absolutely amazing. Which leads me quite well onto what led you into wanting to teach other people into designing their own patterns.
Well, that was kind of a natural progression for me, because since I started to share my makes on my website, my blog, and then I started to release my patterns, and I also started to do YouTube videos. I received a lot of questions via email, DMs, asking about how to hack this, how to resize this, how would you add the pocket, how would you do this, can you show me this, can you make a video about this? So I received so many questions, and most of them, they are very complex questions. So they are not like I can
Mhm.
answer them in a comment back. I either have to make a full-blown tutorial about it, or I have to take quite some time to think through, to write, like very long
Yeah.
email with, and even sometimes I record myself and send them like a 1 minute long video. This is what I would do. You can try. I don't have all the details, but this is what, from what you told me, this is what I would do. And yeah, and I thought, why not just gather everything that I know so far of what I've learned into kind of one container. Because I remember when I started, and as you mentioned earlier on, I'm self taught. So everything I know, I learned by myself. I remember how little to no information there really is about making back patterns. There's
Mhm.
plenty about making clothes, which I love, but which you can take some of that information and infuse it into bags, which I often do. But it's the 3D aspect is completely different. We as a
Mhm.
humans we look differently than a bag. So, and obviously different fabrics, stabilizers, all structure, everything goes into it, which you don't really use in most of
No.
clothing. So yeah, and so I thought, why not just put that in one container, see if people would be interested in it. And yeah, and I enjoyed it so much that I even, last year opened a membership where I teach how to draft patterns. And what I like about this is the membership is more one to one. It's more live because there is live interaction with me. They have more access to me. My course is more self paced when it is very structured. So you have to start from the lesson one and just progress with each lesson, like a typical course, really. You can
Mhm.
still ask questions. I can answer them, but there is no live interaction, and I really enjoy that. I want to see your face. i
Mhm.
want to see i want to see what you holding your bag. Where did you get wrong? What's happening? Where is the problem? So yeah, I think maybe in a past life I was a teacher. I don't know, but I really enjoy that, even though
Yeah.
sometimes I stumble with my words because my brain has to process my thoughts and then translate them to English. But yeah, nobody is complaining at the moment, so I'm happy.
I think, I think that people are quite, understanding when your first language isn't English.
Yeah.
Um, one of my best friends is Polish, and she speaks Polish, Russian, German, and another language. I can't
Wow,
remember what. She speaks 4 languages.
that's
Um,
impressive.
she speaks English better than I do, which to be fair doesn't take much. Um,
Don't say
and
that.
I find it very fascinating because I'm sort of like, when you think, which language do you think in? And she's like,
Yeah.
well, actually, I don't know, because she just
Mm,
doesn't sort of compute. I think because she's lived over here for so long now and she speaks English pretty much all of the time. English
yeah.
is kind of becoming her first language now. But I find that fascinating how people can speak different languages and go in
Yeah.
between them. And so if you're conversing in a language that isn't your native language first and foremost, and it's your second language that you've then learned, then you know it's it is what it is. And if people are going to be accepting of the fact that you know I don't know the Polish word or the Russian word or the Hungarian word for anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I actually started to like this about me. I have a member in my membership, Michelle, and she often says that she loves my accent and how I speak because it makes her chuckle when I make like a tiny mistake. So my pronunciation is not on point. It makes her laugh. It makes her chuckle, and kind of makes her day. Which when she tells me that, it makes my day. And yeah, so
yeah,
I decided to
exactly.
think of it in a way. Even in Polish, even if I speak Polish, I don't know every single word in Polish. So I'm not like fluent in Polish. So let's just go with it. My
No.
English is good enough.
And obviously sort of like bag making as well, it's such a complex thing that there are going to be words for like there'll be something that you know how to do that you won't
Yes.
actually know the word for. You'll know the process, you'll know how to do
Mm,
it, but you it'll be like, well, oh, what's the word for what I'm doing?
Yeah. I
So
often I
you
often
have to
go on
find out the
YouTube
word.
and yeah, I
Mhm,
often go on YouTube then and I look for a tutorial of a similar bag that has that detail. What did they call it? How did
mhm.
they what word do they use to
Yeah,
describe it? So yeah.
but very much like you, I found that there was not any information out there about learning about bag construction. I've actually never wanted really to learn about pattern designing because I've never wanted to get into doing pattern releases or anything like that.
Mm,
But we all know that I'm the queen of hack, and I absolutely love to hack a pattern.
yeah. Which
Um,
is already a designing on its own. It's like a
yeah,
sister.
but I usually do it by going, oh, I'll change this, and then go, that didn't work. And for me, I wanted to kind of learn more about construction as
Okay.
a way not to fail, so that if I tried to do something, I would know before I tried to do it that it would or would not work. I wanted to
Yeah.
understand more why I was failing than, so
Yeah.
whenever I've gone to try and find things out, I have really found that the sort of design side of it has been very much gate kept.
Mm-hmm.
There's not, sort of learning to make bags. I find the bag making community is so generous with its knowledge.
Yes. Yes.
You want to learn how to do something, come here, I'll show you what I know, I'll share what I know. But bag designing, there's nothing out there, even in um, normal educational institutions.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
find anything anywhere. And I was just like, so how do people learn? Where do people find this information? It had
Mm,
me absolutely bamboozled.
mm,
So
yeah. That was my
I did,
feeling as
where did the
well.
first bag designer learn to design bags? That's what I want to know. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, that's it. You have to Google it. Google it if you can find that
Google Google
information.
did not give me the answer.
Ah, okay. Well, then we'll never know. It's going to be a mystery
No, no,
forever.
we just have to accept it. I did come
That's it.
across, I've got a few of them down here actually. I had a couple like bags, books like
Oh, I
these
have I have it as well.
were
I have
sort
it
of
as well.
handy,
Mm,
just for sort of reference. Um, I want to change this. If I change it, what will it do to the bag structure?
yeah.
Will
What
I destroy it?
what I liked about this book that you just showed is at the beginning, my biggest struggle was to visualize how the 3D becomes 2D.
Mhm,
And what I like about this book is that it shows you compartments of like every single like a bag, and it shows you pieces, which for
mhm.
my brain kind of made it like so much easier to adjust the visual in my head than being okay, 4 squares, 5 squares make a tote bag. Oh, that's simple. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah,
and actually this is what I teach in my courses in my membership, because I often find that that's the biggest like a hurdle that many kind of wants to jump through, and they don't know how to. So I kind of
yeah,
have my own way of teaching to visualize into kind of 2D perspective, and I think it works. I don't know, it works for my brain, so I guess
yeah.
it will
And
work for
sometimes it
other
helps
people
to
as
have
well.
somebody help you through it
Yes,
as well,
yes,
doesn't it?
definitely. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm going to go back to the comments for a little bit.
No
Um,
problem.
so Matthew's joined us as well as Nikki. Kathy says that she's scrolling through fabrics right now, which is obviously very dangerous.
Yes.
Um, Lynn's asking, what is your favourite type of bag and which is the most popular with your customers?
My favorite type of bag to make or to design, or
Let's
just
go with
in,
both.
in general. Well, I love making very easy projects. I love pouches. I'm obsessed with making zipper pouches in any shape, size, form. But I love designing more kind of complex, substantial project like backpacks. You will probably, if you know my designs, you'll know I have a lot of backpacks and pouches. That's like two main routes that I mainly go. So and obviously I love sewing both. If I want a quick fix, I go for the smaller project, the zipper pouch. If I want to feel like I've achieved something greater, then I go with the backpack.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've only just discovered recently sewing backpacks. They've
Okay.
never really floated my boat in the, you know, I've never I'm like, I've gotten a pattern, and then I've been like, no, I'll go on to something else.
Okay.
I made one, I've made a couple. I made the Denver by Swoon a little while, well, about 4 years ago. Absolutely had my brain I just couldn't work it out. I've made it again recently, absolutely no problem. Well, apart from forgetting to put the zippers on, but that is another story. Went together, no problem. And I was like, I don't know why I had an issue with this the first time. But anyway, I made a backpack for going away to Wales, me and Andy. And I thought, I want a backpack for going away. I would, you know, I've still been having issues with, not so much issues with my shoulder, but I'm aware that I don't want to cause any issues with my shoulder by having heavy weight and that on it.
Yeah.
Going to make myself a backpack. Obviously, this was the day before we went away because it's me.
Yeah.
Didn't decide to go with a fairly easy one. I went with one that had about 50 pieces. But oh my God, I'm a convert. I absolutely love that backpack. And I love it. And I wear a backpack all the time now.
Yeah.
And I just, why have I not been sewing backpacks before now?
Yeah,
why have I
that's
not
the main
been
reason.
wearing backpacks before now?
Yeah. Yeah, the reason why I love making and designing them is because I wear them all the time. I use them. I rarely use crossbody bags because I found backpack more comfortable. You just want a small one, you make a small one. You want a large one, make a large one. I have a backpack for a grocery shopping. I have a small one for a daytime, you know, a tiny version just to fit my wallet and my phone. That's it. And off I go for a walk in the park. It's like a backpack for everything.
Well, I am an absolute convert as well.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of love for your Penelope backpack. Somebody mentioned saying that they were starting, that we're cutting one out. And Hazel saying, I love Monika's Penelope backpack. It goes together so well, and the double zip front looks very classy.
Thank you.
So, and Elaine was saying, have you got any bags in the background that you want to show us?
Well, I did actually prepared one that is my favorite.
Here's one that you made earlier. You might not get that reference.
No. I made it. This is, and I think I didn't. Now thinking about it, I didn't answer the question which pattern was like my most bestseller before because we went on a tangent. That's the McFly backpack. So let me just back a little bit. So this is my favorite backpack. It's my day backpack. So it's really dirty now. So it has like 3 years. It's made from cork and wax canvas. So this is the mini version. I have slightly larger version of this backpack that I use for my grocery shopping, which is in a real state. So I'm not going to show you guys. Yeah, and then the latest one is the Ava hip bag, which is this little number, which I'm obsessed as well. I've never been wearing hip bags or like sling bags before, but like you are a convert to backpacks, I'm kind of a convert now to hip bags because you have your hands free, and I like that. I don't know about, there's something about crossbody bags that bugs me because depending on what I'm wearing, it's either shifting on the front, back, it's uncomfortable. With this, it's like easy. Put it on your back, easy. So yeah. I hope that answers your question.
2 seconds. My sound went off just there for a second.
No worries.
So sorry. Hopefully, are you back? Yes.
I'm hoping I am.
My sound just went off for a second there. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's what happens though when you get to 20 and 21, your tastes change, and you develop a liking for backpacks and
Yeah.
hip packs and that, and we just have to roll with it.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Hazel is saying, other Hazel is, I made the Winnie needle book. It's a cute little pattern.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, and Kathy's saying that she's planning on using her Advent box goodies for the Penelope.
Ooh, nice.
Oh,
That fabric
Donna's
is
saying
that the advent calendar from online back supplies, or because
no,
there were few.
from Emma from Studio 77.
From Emma. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
I cannot really think of on top of my head what's inside, what fabric. I'm thinking the fabric, I'm already
I
thinking
think
like, ooh, this would look good.
my
I cannot
backpack's in
remember
my
what fabric
bedroom.
okay.
It was
I'll
like
just Google it later.
green floral.
Oh, nice.
Everybody commented that she basically designed it with me in mind because I love green a lot.
Emma,
Yeah,
she always puts really nice things in her boxes.
yeah,
I see
yeah.
online what everybody shares, and she's got like impeccable taste.
I know.
Put all
If
those
only I
details
had her
together.
taste as well.
Oh yeah.
Donna's saying that she always tends to go for a backpack and a cross body, but she hasn't attempted to make a backpack yet.
Well,
So
now it's the time.
it is.
2025, it's the time.
It's going to be the year of the backpacks.
That's it.
Hazel's saying she's not a fan of backpacks and she doesn't know why. Well, I wasn't. Like, I wasn't at all. And
Yeah.
like I say, I really can't understand now why I wasn't. And I don't know what, maybe I had this kind of feeling that they were a little bit school-like, but they're not, because obviously we're bag makers. We make them
Very
however we
sporty,
want
very
them.
casual, don't they? That's kind of,
Mhm.
you think about it, it's like sporty casual, but
Yeah.
they can look
But
so classy.
yeah, I was out for coffee on Saturday with some of the girls who I saw with and what have you, and obviously my bag got passed round because it was made with all of the stuff from the Advent box,
Yeah.
and we were talking about it, and I actually didn't put any Decaville or any foam in it, so it is quite slouchy.
Mm-hmm.
But I made it that way specifically
Yeah.
because I quite often wear hoodies,
Okay.
especially in this weather.
Mm.
And what I found with my other one, which I did put a lot of foam in, was, and when we were in Wales and I had my hoodie and my big thick coat on, is that the top of the backpack was kind of pushing my
Mm-hmm.
hood up, and it was
Okay.
kind of getting on my nerves a little bit.
Annoying.
So when
Yeah.
I made this one, I thought, I'm not going to put any foam or anything in it. It was,
Yeah.
it was all made out of vinyl, and I thought, I don't think
Yeah.
it needs it.
Yeah.
So the top part does kind of go in on itself a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but once I put lots of fabric that I've
Yeah.
bought in it, it's
Yeah.
fine.
It's funny. It's
And
funny that you
no,
mentioned
we're
that.
buying
Sorry.
shop.
Sorry. Yes.
Sorry, my sound keeps going off. If I was buying it in a shop, somebody might not be happy because it goes in on it, but it's perfect for me
Mm.
because my hood kind of sits nice and neatly on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't sit
Yeah.
awkwardly.
Yeah.
And as bag makers, we can make them exactly how we want them to suit
That's it.
us
That's
and
it.
our little
Design
quirk.
feature.
Yeah. Brian's just saying, back in the last century when I was in college, it was only cool to carry your backpack on one shoulder. I think that's why I lean towards sling bags. Yeah, that's why I made Andy a sling bag, because he would only ever put one shoulder on, and I didn't want him. If I made him a backpack, I didn't want him breaking it, so I made him a sling. Lynn saying, I just can't wear a backpack properly. End up with just one strap hanging on my shoulder. That's probably a little bit like me. I've got wonky shoulders. I've got one shoulder that sits lower. So you maybe just need to tighten it and have one strap shorter than the other. Or just make one strap shorter than the other. That's maybe maybe is what we need to do with that one, and then we'll get the straps sitting nice and
That's right.
straight.
That's it.
So where do you find your inspiration for your bags that you design?
Mainly from people around me. So I tend to listen to my friends, my family, what they want, what they need, and they cannot find in shops. And then I obviously listen to my audience because they give me a lot of inspiration as well. They give me a lot of ideas. When I get a need for a bag, then I would usually I jump on Pinterest. That's like the first place where I always go to find inspiration for like color combination, shapes, maybe very interesting detail that I want to include, I want to try. And what I found is that I don't know why, but since maybe because I started sewing my own clothes, that's how I, started sewing. I tend to gravitate a lot to clothing and see what shapes, what pockets, what flaps they have, and kind of pinch those ideas to my designs. This is what actually I've done on this McFly backpack. I use very large darts on the front to give this bag a little bit like a curve
Yeah,
along the top, shaving. So it's the same way as if you were sewing a top, because I
yeah.
really like that.
Like
And
princess
I've never
themes.
seen, yeah, yeah, I've never seen. No, this is actually not a seam completely to the end. It's a large dart. So I've never seen that before in any bags, and I thought it looks so cool. I'm just going to do it, add it. So yeah, I take a lot of inspiration from clothing, to be honest, because there are so many details that you don't really see in bags. Usually in bags you tend to see hardware, very specific hardware that makes a design very interesting. But since I cannot design my own hardware to include in bags, I have to think about something a little bit different. So yeah, Pinterest is like my go-to place to find inspiration. And then obviously sometimes I go to shops and see what's out there. I tend not to follow fast fashion, and I try to kind of avoid looking online to see, oh, what's the it bag this year, to get influenced by it. I always try to think of the function first. I want to make something that I'm going to use, or my friends, my family, my customers, they actually going to use. That's kind of like my priority when it comes to my inspiration, because who needs a pretty bag that is going to live on a shelf forever because it's unusable,
Mhm.
so yeah. And then I see what people wear on the streets as well. I kind of get sometimes too close to them and just like picking a little
Stand
bit,
there while I take a
be,
picture.
yeah, being a bit of a weirdo. So
Oh, I'm just checking through because there's a lot of my questions that I'd sort of thought about that I wanted to ask that we've kind of naturally
yeah,
like naturally asked.
that's
What
okay.
what advice would you give to somebody who was maybe not, because obviously we've had a few people mention that they've maybe scared to try backpacks and that sort of thing. What advice would you give to somebody who's, say, nervous to try a particular type of pattern or style of bag?
I would say just go for it. The one thing about, if you are using a ready-made pattern with sewing instructions and even video tutorials, is that you have so much information in front of you that there is little to, like, there's no way you can make a huge mistake that this project will end up in a bin. Even if you make a lot of mistakes and you don't like the look of it because your zipper is wonky, your seams aren't matching, your fabric maybe is upside down, or whatever mistake you've made, just take one step at a time. I have so many customers coming back to me and saying, "Oh, I thought this pattern was so difficult, and because I took one step at a time and I didn't look ahead, it was so easy. I just breezed through it in a couple of hours." So I think this is what you want to think of. Just take one step at a time. Don't overthink things, and just trust the process and trust the designer, because obviously they've made the pattern, they've made the bags multiple times probably, and they know that it works. A lot of time when we are learning something new, when we are trying unknown techniques to us, it doesn't make sense. We are thinking why this is wrong sides together, why this is right sides together, why this is upside down, why. There's lots of why questions. At
Mm-hmm.
least I know that's from my own like experience. So if you just trust the process, trust the designer, and take one step at a time. Use something that you use, like a scrap of fabric, old sheets, something that you are not afraid to damage, just in case if it really goes wrong. But
Mm-hmm.
even if it goes wrong, you will learn so much. So the next time you're going to use your fancy fabric, it's going to be so much easier. And just
Yeah.
practice. That's
Yeah.
all I can really say. Just practice and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Just some
I
fabric
still make
there.
mistake every day.
Oh yeah. Oh god, I've made so many this week. Like every single day. Haven't sewn today. Guess what? I haven't made any mistakes.
Okay.
Sophie's saying, sorry for being quiet. I'm making notes. That's what we're here
Okay.
for. And Donna's saying, overthinking is my middle name. I
Oh
mean,
no,
to be fair,
no.
it's probably mine too.
We need to change that. We need to change your middle name
Yeah.
then to something
And I
more.
think, yeah. And I'll say to people, and I think we're all guilty of it, of being so critical of ourselves. You know, if somebody says, oh, I love your bag, and we'll say,
Mm.
oh, we made it, and go, oh, it's amazing. What's the first thing that we do? Is we
Oh
point
yeah,
out
we
the
complain.
mistakes.
It's
And we
yes,
shouldn't
yes,
do it. And I
yeah,
would tell off somebody who did that. Like, well, I wouldn't tell
yeah,
them off. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Like, it's amazing. Like, you know, that mistake's minute. Like, only you would notice it because you know it's
yeah,
there. You know that you've had to put it right. But I would do exactly the same thing. It's the first thing that I
yeah,
do. If somebody compliments me on something I've made, is I point out where it's not right.
yeah. I
We're
made
so self-critical.
I made the Penelope backpack for my mom for her 60th birthday recently, like just end of last year. And when I was constructing it, I made a mistake of putting zippers the wrong way. So one zipper goes this way and one zipper goes this way. And when I gave this back to my mom, she was really pleased with it. And the first thing I did, oh, I put the zipper wrong way, and I chose the wrong color of the zipper because it's stupid, to have a blue zipper. And she's like, "It's perfect." I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah, I think, there'll be everybody else will be sitting here at home going, yeah, exactly the same, exactly the same. Elaine's asking, are all your patterns domestic machine friendly?
I say yes if you pick the right fabric. Obviously, if you are having domestic machine, you don't want to sew it heavyweight for leather cork. But if you know what your sewing machine can handle, and if you watch a tutorial or if you read through the sewing instructions, you will have a rough idea of how many layers you need to stitch. If your machine can handle it, then yes. I use the semi-industrial machine, which can handle a little bit heavier fabrics, but I tend to write my patterns for like quilting cottons and things like this, and then use foam or fleece to stabilize it. So I would say the short answer is basically yes.
Oh, Hazel saying she sewed front panel and back panel together yesterday while sewing the zipper overlay on. That was a first. I had a mare with a zipper overlay yesterday. At least said about that, the better. Donna's just asked what machine you've had, literally as you were saying, which
Oh
machine
yeah,
you had.
I
So
can
that's
read your mind.
yeah, absolutely. Um, So which is your most favourite way to stay connected with the sewing community?
Well, I would say Instagram and Facebook. These are like two places where I kind of tend to be the most. That's the easiest way to speak to me directly, like in DMs and on Messenger. I try to answer any questions. I try to be really helpful with everything. And I like to connect with people in more kind of personal way, because it can be quite lonely to sew at home by yourself. And I used to avoid like Facebook groups or social media altogether, and I found that it wasn't the best choice. Let's put it this way. So yeah, I think, and don't be afraid to ask questions in groups, because even if you're just lurking, that can feel a little bit lonesome as well. So I would say post your makes, comment on other people's makes. That's what I try to do. Like the
Mm-hmm.
the pictures, the bags that other people making, comment on their posts, and stay connected like this. I would love to make more live YouTube videos, just like you have done here. I love teaching classes on my channel. I would love to do it more often. Time doesn't allow me for it, but I really like
Yeah,
that live aspect of it.
it
So
can be so difficult managing everything, can't
yeah,
it? And
yes,
obviously the
yes,
video aspect of it, that recording, the editing, the uploading, it is so time consuming.
yeah, yeah.
That's why I've been doing everything in a live format on my channel,
Mm,
like basically since Christmas.
yeah,
Um, the only things that will be going out on this channel in a sort of pre-recorded and uploaded format is where I think it can only go up in that format.
okay,
The only way it would work is if it is in that format.
all right.
If it will work in a live format, it's going up in a live format, because it's just it's for the most important part for me is the community part.
Yeah,
Just what you were talking
yeah,
about there,
yeah.
that being able to ask questions, at that interaction, like you were just saying, sewing
Mm,
by yourself can be so lonely. So even, I mean, I watch live replays on my TV in my sewing
yeah.
room all of the time. I'll put one on. I had one of Kasaya's on the other day that was like from 2020. It was,
Oh
one
wow,
that was like 4 year old. It came on, I just left it. It wasn't like a more recent
that's
one. And it was
brilliant.
like, well, it doesn't need to be, doesn't
What was
need to
she
be
making?
recent. Um, I think it was actually a trailblazer, which is
Mm,
ironic because that's one of the things that we're making. So it's probably
okay.
YouTube listening to me, because I was cursed
Oh.
in the trailblazer last night. Um, so it's probably YouTube listening in on me, or Alexa listening on me. I don't want to say it too loud because she'll start off. But
Yeah,
it's exactly just what Sue said there. It's company while you sew.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I really like either watching a live as it's live or watching a replay.
Mm,
So all of my videos are going up in live format, primarily for that reason. But another reason is it's done,
yeah.
and there's no editing. There's no me picking over it either. Like, oh, did I do that quite right?
I
Or did
still
I?
do that though. I
Yeah,
still
I just
edit
don't
my
crack.
lives. I cut the fluff, the beginning when it's like asking, can you hear me? I just
No,
don't
I don't
like
do
this
that.
part on my videos. So I'll just, and lucky you can do that inside the YouTube studio. So it's not like you have to download the
Yeah,
entire video and upload it. That takes bloody forever. You can just cut
yeah,
those bits. So
yeah.
I
But
don't
the YouTube editor is a bit of a nightmare to use. So yeah, no, so
Yes.
I just leave it. I just leave it.
See, I'm not there yet. Like the perfection, it's like
Yeah. I
it's
mean, don't
pushed
get
to the
me
side,
wrong.
but it's not there
It's
yet.
it's still in there. I have to fight it. But for me, the way that I'm thinking about it now is, does it matter that there's a couple of minutes of me saying, you know, I'll give everybody a few minutes to get on. Can everybody hear me okay? And we get my pattern pieces out and what have you. Is it worth me spending half an hour editing that out? Or is it worth half an hour of me cutting out another pattern to do another live?
Yeah. Plus, on the
That's
replay, they
kind of
can always
how I'm
skip.
trying.
Mm.
Exactly. So, and like I say, I just love, can we buy, it's just Amazon. Emma's asking if we can buy me t-shirt. I mean, I think this one will be too big for you, Emma, because there's a slight difference in size between me and you. But it's just Amazon. I was looking for something months ago. I was looking for something else, and it came up on me. You might like this, and I was like, I think I do like this.
You know me well.
And it was green. So, but yeah, that's kind of my sort of thinking with the community, and from what you're saying with the sort of teaching side of it, I think live would work really well because you get that interaction.
Yeah.
People get to ask questions, and then I would say 9 times out of 10, anybody who's watching it back on a replay, the people watching it back on the replay will be thinking the questions that people are asking in the chat anyway. So,
Yeah.
and if they've got a question, they can just ask it in the comments, and you get the notification in your YouTube app, and you can go and answer it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. Like, I wish I was so tech savvy like you, that you can swap cameras, do all this stuff. And I think what my problem is when I teach a live class on YouTube is that I get so into whatever I'm doing, and because we're doing things with our hands, I rarely look at the screen to check the comments. So it's
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
I have to work on
it
that.
is. It's a learning curve, and I'm still learning. Like,
Yeah.
I'll look up at the chat, and then I'll get so interested in the chat, I'll go, "Oh God, I'm supposed to be sewing." I've totally forgot to sew for like 10 minutes, but
That's good.
it is what it is. People
Yeah,
come for you as well as the learning, and
that's true.
it's community, and it's, you know, it's that interaction.
Yeah.
And I think I was literally just saying this to somebody yesterday. I think, or I feel, the more I do lives, the better I'll get at them. And, you know, the better I'll get at sort of checking the chat and making sure I've remembered to flick cameras. Because Emma's helped me loads. Like, I
Oh
did know
yeah.
how to use quite a bit of the tech, but then she like, did you know it does this? And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't. And then she'll tell me where to go and watch to learn how to do it. And I'm like, so I
Wow.
do
I
it.
know who to ask questions then.
Yes. I mean, I literally, it should bring it up, but I can like literally control it all from my phone.
Oh wow. That's brilliant.
So it's,
Magic.
yeah. And yeah. And I think, you know, on the whole, the bag making community is such a supportive place, and people just want to learn.
Yeah.
And there's so many creators out there that if somebody comes to learn from you and they don't like your style, then they can go and learn from someone else.
That's true. That's true. And we all have our own personal preferences as well. Because I remember when I started making my bags and starting releasing patterns, I had very specific way, let's say, of sewing a zipper. And now I don't like that because I've learned totally different method and I prefer that. So all my other patterns are written in this way. So
Yeah.
it's like you see what you like, you take what you like, you leave it, and then what you don't like, you just like, okay, I don't like this method, I'll stick to whatever I like. But the end project is the same, so it doesn't really matter a lot of
Yeah.
time how it's
Maureen's saying,
constructed.
we've learned that a 1 hour tutorial will be at least 1.5 hours. I mean, Maureen, we've never had a 1.5 hour tutorial yet. So I don't know what you're talking about. So saying we love the lives because it's not just so when you get the chatter as well. Yeah. And Karen's asking, what machine do you sew on? Which model is it? It's a Dukey.
Oh boy, 22. 2200. Yeah.
There we go. I think there's quite a few people sew on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that was the reason why I chose that particular machine, because first of all, it was easy to access in UK. I think there is a shop that sell them, and most of the reviews were really, really, really good.
Yeah.
I would love industrial machine, but I don't have a space, so I needed something that is strong enough for what I wanted to do. But I can pack it in a cupboard and hide it if I have to.
Yeah. And you have the benefit as well that it's portable. So if you are going somewhere, then you can take it.
It is
with
heavy
you
though.
and
I wouldn't, but yeah, it is heavy because it's all metal. But it's good
my
machine. If you are
Genomi's the
looking for
same.
a good machine, that I would highly recommend.
Yeah. My Genomi's the same, which is usually why I pack it away and then go to Andy, will you put that in the car?
Oh,
And then when you get it out at the other side.
yeah.
I'm like, thanks. But it does weigh a ton. So when it says it's portable, it that's a very it's a very loose term.
Yeah.
So
it's good
right.
for if
So
you don't want to go gym, you just like carry your machine from one room to the other.
No. This body wasn't built with a gym, it was built with cake. So right,
Good.
I'm going to ask you sort of like 3 sort of quick questions to kind of end with. What's your most favorite bag that you've ever made?
Yeah, I would say the McFly backpack. That's my all-time favorite.
Right, I just lost my sound there. Everybody else knows what your favorite bag was. I don't. I'm going to go back and rewatch it so then I know. What tool can't you live without?
Well, sorry, can you repeat that?
What tool can't you live without?
Tool. Ooh, I would say my pattern tracing wheel. I use it every day, so I would go on like my bag design and pattern drafting toolkit. Yeah, that's the one I wouldn't want to lose.
Fab answer. And what one tip would you give to makers to really sort of level up their skills?
Well, I think it's what I've mentioned before. Just don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and just go with the flow and just take one step at a time, and you'll get there quicker than you think.
Yeah. I think what you've just said there about mistakes is the best thing, is just accepting them.
Yeah.
That happen.
That's when you learn. That's really when you learn. When you make a mistake and you understand where you actually went wrong and you can backtrack and fix it, there is little, possibility that you're going to make the same mistake twice. I won't say it's never going to happen, but
I was going to say, usually for me, it's usually the second time I've made the mistake that it sinks. But yeah, I think sometimes making mistakes can be the most valuable lesson, because you sometimes then realize why something needs to be done a certain way, because you've had the repercussions of it not being done that way, so it kind of sticks more. So yeah, don't be I think that's a really good point. Don't be frightened of making and owning them.
Yes.
Yeah. So Sylvia's saying, the first bag I made, I put handles on one end, the front put one end on the front and one end on the back. Yeah.
That can be a design feature.
Yeah.
Any mistake, it's a design feature in my mind.
Yeah. Donna's saying a really good place for Dukey supplies is Franklin's in Colchester.
Okay.
So if anybody is looking at Dukey's, they would possibly be a good one to check out. So, but it's been really fun chatting with you. I think I've put all of your contact details and everything like that in the description box down below. But you can go and have a look as well. And if I've missed any, drop me an email and I can go back in and add them in for people.
No
I
problem.
think your website, your Instagram, your YouTube, everything is in there. But like I say, I can go back in and add them in at any point.
Yeah,
So
I'm everywhere at All Sew Petite, so just type that in any platform. Very easy.
But yeah, please do go and check out like Monika's website and Facebook and YouTube channel, because you do have some really helpful videos. You've just had one out, was it yesterday or was it earlier today, on the gusset, making sure your gusset fits?
Yeah, that was on Instagram, yeah.
Oh, was it Instagram? I thought that was YouTube. Oh, just goes to show. It's just because I'm rarely on Instagram. I must have been on Instagram briefly today. But it was really interesting to sort of see how to make sure that your gusset fits nice and snug and properly. So go and check that out. But go and upload it to YouTube.
I will. It's probably on my schedule somewhere. It's probably
yeah. But obviously go and check Monika out. Go and get her saved to your favourites. Thank you so much for, like I say, giving up your time this evening. It's been really fun chatting to you. I think I'm kind of all caught up with sort of questions, kind of, other than people agreeing with heavy machinery and people saying I should make t-shirts with my logo. I need to get my logo sorted, Emma. He hasn't replied to me. I'll message you about that later. I don't think I've missed any questions. I think I've been pretty good with,
you know, your job, so you got that.
I think possibly as when we have really busy ones, sometimes I need to get people to put like a little queue at the front to make sure I don't miss any questions. But yes, I think I'm good. Lots of people agreeing with sort of like backpacks with us and sewing machines and what have you. There's a lot of love for dookies. I think there's a lot of people like the dookies as well. So you've obviously,
good brand.
Yeah. So at least if people have a dookie, they can go and look at your patterns and know that they'll manage them no problem. But like you said, it is definitely fabric choices and interfacing, keeping your interfacing out of seam allowances, stabilizers, out of seam allowances, that sort of thing. It makes all the difference. So
absolutely.
So like I say, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
So next week we have Matt, who I'm sure if you remember, sorry, I did not realize my phone was not on silent there. We've got Matt on, who, if you're a member of the Facebook group, I am sure that you will have seen some of his amazing leather creations. I don't actually even know how to put them into words. They are art, is basically the only way that I can describe his bags. So the schedule for that is on my YouTube channel. So if you go onto my homepage, you will see that it's upcoming. So you can click to be notified. I'm pretty sure there's an event on my page, but you'll see links and everything on everywhere. So that will be next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Did I say Wednesday? Yes. Did I say Wednesday? It's late. I need a fresh cup of tea. I've managed most of this one before it went absolutely stone cold. So yes, next Wednesday, 8 p.m. I will see everybody then. Thank you so much to everybody who's joined me in the chat this evening. If you're watching this back on a replay, post any comments in the description box down below. I will come in and answer any of them. But if you want to reach out to Monika, you can find her contact details in the description up above. So I will see everybody on my next live or next Wednesday if you're coming back for the chat. I will see you then. Bye.
Bye.